No bull. No Scotty, no Pippen, no Michael, no Jordan, no bull. No bull. No bull. Only real shit in my town. Now the fake niggas ain't round. No bull. No bull. Yeah. No bull.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to No Ball with me, Jimmy from UK Chicago Bulls. Well, hey, smashed it first time. Well done, me. Thanks for coming along and joining us. If you're here live, or if you're catching up, or if you're just listening on the podcast platform, as always, really appreciate all the support. We've had a great week for Bulls fans, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Doing something a little bit different today. The guy come on is not a Bulls fan, so don't hang up just yet. Don't stop watching now. He's a good guy. He's actually, well, I'll let him tell you in a sec, but he is the host of the Grit and Grime podcast, and I will let him plug all that as we go. But yeah, I'm really excited to have him. It'll be something a little bit, well, much of the same, talking the same sort of stuff, but from a different angle. We'll get a Lakers, dropped a minute, a Lakers perspective. There you go. He's a Lakers fan. So it'll be quite interesting. And obviously with the game tonight, it's good timing. So without further ado, here he is, Mr. David Sagoe. How you doing?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming, man. I really appreciate your time. So I was going to let you explain that you're a Lakers fan, but I've just dropped that in for you. So yeah, apologies for that. I'm still
That's
a
good
rookie
hosting.
in this game.
No worries at all.
So yeah, you're a Lakers fan. So why? Let's get straight to it. Why are you a Lakers fan? Let's start there.
So I followed basketball through quite loosely, casually through the 90s, and then I basically got back into it when NBA Street Volume 2 came out.
Oh wow.
And yeah, that was huge for me in, what was that, 03 or whatever, 02, 03. And so I knew about the stars, basically. Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and those kinds of players. Allen Iverson as well. And I was like a casual Laker fan at the time, but because I got into it really at the end of the 03 season, when the Suns started to pick up, they got Steve Nash that summer, and they were playing really exciting basketball. So I like those two teams. But then the following year is when Kobe blows up, starts going nuts, scoring all kinds of points against everyone. And the two teams meet in the playoffs, and it was kind of like almost like a standoff for me as a fan, like which way are you gonna go? And the Lakers were up 3-1, and then ended up blowing the 3-1 lead. And because I wanted the Lakers to win that series, that's how I knew that I was a Lakers fan over a Suns fan.
I like that. So you just went with your gut.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that a lot, man. It's a similar story to mine. It's obviously, I had a massive gap out. Everyone probably knows, so I won't bore you with the details. But for me, when I come back into it, I kind of felt because I hadn't followed it for so long, although I used to be a Bulls fan. I use that term very lightly back then, by the way, because as you know, it was very difficult to follow and everything else. But coming back in, I felt like I had a free rein to pick any team. And I watched all the teams, and I love Jay-Z, so I was like, I could support the Brooklyn Nets. So I watched a bit of the Brooklyn Nets and stuff, and then I watched the Bulls, and it was just like, that was a team that I really found myself like really invested in, like really wanted them to win. And whereas I was watching the others just sort of a bit, not really caring so much. So similar sort of thing. You just go with your gut, don't you? So
yeah, that's the best way, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, for sure. Wow, I'm glad I did now because, Nets suck, don't they? Let's be honest. And I've had years of misery since 2015. I've had years of misery.
Yeah.
But hopefully the tables are turning now. So
Yeah, I've been tuning in, and it's been a hell of a show. Yeah, it's a very very interesting team to follow right now, the Bulls.
And just fun to watch as well.
Absolutely.
I kind of said at the start of the season, I don't know how well we'll do, but we'll be really fun to watch.
Yeah,
And it turns
yeah,
out we're getting the best of everything at the moment, pretty much. So,
yeah.
yeah, definitely, absolutely buzzing. I am going to get straight into this. I'm going to call you out straight away, David, because
Let's
I
do it.
listened to your previews on your Grit and Grime pod. And
Hmm.
sorry, we've got a couple of comments. Let me just touch on them. David's secret. Who's that? Thomas Arnold's put David's secretly a Knicks fan. Hold up, we've mentioned Knicks. We've got to do the
Yeah, let's hear
your
it.
favorite. Your favorite player. Jose's in. Your favorite player is Manu Ginobili. You should be a Spurs fan. Thomas agrees. The Nets suck. Zuglu's in. Evening, Zuglug. Thanks for joining us again, mate. Hot Sauce Junior, Chicago resident, checking in. Mad respect to the UK fans. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you. So yeah, David, I'm just going to call you out, man, on your preview, and this is a direct quote from your very mouth. They are not going to play a lick of defense.
How wrong was I? How wrong was I?
Well, listen, I went on the Orlando Magic UK pod, which I seem to mention every week, but shout out to those guys. And I
Absolutely.
think it was Paul that asked me if Tom, no booing, if what if I was worried about our defense, basically.
Mm,
And
mm,
I said, no, I don't understand why so many are. And don't get me wrong, there were a lot of Bulls fans that were saying, oh, defensively we could be bad, but offensively we'll be amazing. I didn't
mm,
get it. I did not get it at all. I mean, we were adding Lonzo
mm,
Ball to the starters, who's a great defender. I think everyone will admit that. Caruso, obviously a brilliant defender off the bench. And for me, Pat Williams was going to be
mm.
he was going to have a real breakout year this year, and especially on the defensive end. But obviously we lost him early on, but we're still bossing it on the defense, and it's,
Yeah,
to be fair, I wasn't worried that we were going to be bad defensively, but I certainly didn't expect us to be this good.
yeah. I think um, you're right. There is some good defensive personnel there. Caruso is, as I know, so disruptive on that end, and at the point of attack. Um, the Lonzo thing, I know Lonzo can defend well, and I knew Lonzo could defend well, but there were times in New Orleans where he wasn't showing the same kind of level that he's obviously showing now and showed in his last year at the Lakers. So I was wondering if maybe some of that was scheme over individual effort, or maybe if the injuries had hampered his ability to like stick with ball handlers and stuff like that. But he's been amazing. He's been amazing at the point of attack. I watched the Dallas game, and he was really getting into Luka and making things difficult for him in single coverage, which was really impressive. And I think he seems to be stronger, but hasn't lost any of his speed. So his defense on the perimeter has really, really helped you guys. And then it seems like scheme wise, it just works, right? A lot of the time you do have those four players out there, the four big exciting players, Caruso, Ball. I won't tell you the nickname I heard for them the other day.
Oh yes, yes, I've seen that a
Caruso,
few times
Ball,
now.
Caruso, Ball, DeRozan, and who am I missing? Levine.
Yeah,
Um, they it's obviously not on the same level, but they kind of form that same kind of blanket defense around the perimeter that the Bulls used to have and have had at various points in the last 20 or so years. You spoke a bit earlier about Rondo, Wade, Butler, like they could do a similar thing.
yeah.
And that's helped make up for any lack of interior defense.
I mean, Lonzo, not just his defense, man. His vision is
Mm,
unbelievable. I mean, Rondo was known for it, wasn't he? And a lot of
yeah.
his stuff, he reminds me of what I remember when Rondo was at the Bulls and he said one of his post game interviews. He said about, "I've told them they might not think I can see them, but I see everything on the court." And
Mm.
that to me is Lonzo. He's looking for the pass before he's got the ball. He's honestly,
Yeah.
I thought Lonzo again. I thought Lonzo was going to be good for us, and a lot of
Mm.
Bulls fans. I say this every week. Probably it seems like I say it every week. A lot of Bulls fans were desperate for him and putting so much pressure on him, and I thought they needed to temper that a bit because I thought it'd be too much. But he's excelled. I think he's shocked even Bulls
Mm.
fans that thought he would be really good. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been the best Lonzo that you could expect, right? Like,
Oh,
if you look at
unbelievable.
what he's capable of, what he's capable of at the top end is exactly what he's shown with
Yeah.
the 40+% shooting from
Oh,
three.
which was never there before, was it? When he first came into the league, that was the biggest issue with him.
Yeah, but he's reformed his shot and it just looks so pure now.
I'm so impressed.
I,
He's probably our most important player. I would say it's a bit of a
oh, you think so?
important, not best. I would say important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that in my opinion, that's just my opinion. That's
Mm.
maybe a bit of a hot take, but I think he's probably the most important player.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Anyway, I've just realised. Sorry, Jose's just in the comments now. In fact, is that Tom from your show, Thomas Arnold?
They both are.
Okay,
Jose
so
and
this is
Tom have
Tom
just
from
come
your
to
show.
cause trouble.
Right, so Tom's put, we all stand by our predictions. Right, Tom, in which case, I'm going to call you out because this was your reaction when the Bulls come on your Eastern Conference preview show. I'm all out on them. I'm all out on them. So, shock horror. I've got the thing ready. He's a Knicks fan. Yeah, let's blow him off.
Let's hear it.
Yeah,
Again for the
absolutely.
fans in the back.
So someone else that was out. Jose's in it. I can't remember what Jose said now. I haven't got anything in my notes. Oh no, he did. He said he liked the DeRozan pickup. So shout out, Jose. That's it.
Yeah, shouts to Jose. He's a Spurs fan, so he knows what DeRozan's capable. He's watched him for the last few years.
He's a Spurs fan. Yeah, of course he is.
Mm.
So he liked that pickup. So I was with him. Obviously, a lot of the national media, I mean, a lot of people, the GMs and stuff, said it was the worst move of the offseason, which is still crazy.
That's unbelievable. No, that's never the case. He's an all-star caliber player.
Yeah. It seemed that the only people backing him were Bulls fans and Raptor fans. And I want to say Spurs fans, but there's not enough of them out there to make a noise. So sorry, Jose. But it's just true, man. There's just not many of you out there. You're the only one I can think of. You and Hugh Hopkins are the only two I can think of. So Zuglug's put, I'm assuming we were talking about Lonzo here. Sorry, guys, there's a 30-second delay with the comments. Zuglug's put, he should be banned from shooting inside the 3-point line or take some tips from the marvellous DeRozan. Well, yeah. Well, when he gets inside that 3-point line, he does seem to look more for the pass than the layup or the shot. But he's confirmed that is Lonzo he's talking about. So Tom still stands by your words. So that's great. I'm really happy for you, Tom. How's those Knicks doing? How's Julius Randle doing? Because he's meant to be the next Michael Jordan from last season, what I heard, until he got to the playoffs and completely froze and hasn't come alive since. I love ranting about the Knicks. In fact, for those that don't know, me and Martin from Knicks UK have got a bet on which team will finish with the best record. And whoever loses has to go on. I think we're going to do it maybe on an NBA UK fans Instagram live. Whoever loses has to go on it with the opposing team's jersey.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
If I was Martin, I would get that new City one with Caruso on the back because I've just ordered that today. So he's going to need that come end of the season. But yes, anyway, I've slaughtered you guys enough. I love your pod, so that is just joking, although your predictions were terrible. Last week we had Liam Chapman on, who we do at the end of the show. I don't know if you've heard, so we pick the games for that week and the guest will pick a record that they think the games and I'll pick one. I've lost the paperwork now. I know Liam got it right. There we go. So Liam said 3-1, and I said 2-2, and Liam was bang on, absolutely bang on. He said we would beat the Nets, which we did. He said we'd beat Dallas, which we did. He said we'd probably lose to Golden State, which we did. And then we'd beat the Clippers. Absolutely bang on. So fair play, Liam. That's good
Yeah,
shout. So yeah,
good on him.
did you see the Brooklyn Bulls? I know you, because you watch most of the games, so you can only watch the highlights. But did you see much
Yeah.
of that one?
As I said, I saw the highlights of it. And it did just look like you guys just outran them, just ran them over kind of thing. And I mean, looking at it, even just the end score line, you can see that not only did you guys run up the score, but you were able to hold them under 100 points. And I know the Nets haven't gotten going yet this season, but anytime you can hold a team with Durant and James Harden on it to under 100 points, you're doing something right.
You say it says it all. When you're right, they haven't really got going, but they're still second in the East with 10-4, which is
Exactly.
quite scary, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we won. This was from. I didn't see at half time. I didn't think we were going to win it. I must be honest. And the fourth quarter, man, that was just, we come out in the fourth quarter just on a mission, absolutely on a mission, and just like you said, we run them off the court. Really, to be truthful, that was just an awesome watch.
That's a bit of a pattern with you guys, right? Having watched the end of the Knicks game where you brought it back in the fourth. What was the other one? The Clippers game, they cut it to 2, didn't they?
Yeah.
And then you guys pushed the lead back out again. It seems like when it's go time, the team really rallies.
I'm going to say we've probably got Hot Sauce Junior. Yeah, the fourth quarter balls are no joke. Absolutely right, man. I'm going to say this, and I haven't got stats to back it up, and I could be completely wrong, and someone may call me out on this, but we've probably got the most clutch games going into the final 5 minutes, and the game being 5 points either way. I would say the Bulls must have the most so far this season. If it's another team, then I'd be really... Excuse me, I'd be really surprised. Ziglu's put the Boston game as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was on a Monday night, and I think I had Sam on the pod, and I had no intentions of staying up for the game because I was absolutely shattered from work and stuff. And I was just editing the audio to get it out to podcast, and I was sat here with my iPad on, and it was like all of a sudden it was 1 o'clock in the morning, so I put it on, and I was finished, and it got to half time, and then it got to I watched the third quarter all in, fully concentrating, and I must admit by the end of the third I was like, I think I'm just going to go to bed. I've had enough. And I didn't, for whatever reason. I didn't. If I'd gone to bed, I would have been absolutely fuming. It's just the fourth quarter. Yeah, but it's the slow starts that were killing us. And this week they haven't got off to such slow starts, which has been good. I mean, the Dallas game, which I've got up next, we beat them by 10 in the end. But again, we stayed with Dallas in the beginning, and that's the key. You let these teams like Dallas, teams like Brooklyn, Clippers, any of them, you let them run away in the first quarter, you're going to struggle to bring it back.
Yeah. For sure.
And like you said, Lonzo kept Doncic
in check. Yeah.
Quiet. You don't really keep him quiet, but you try and hold him up a
tough.
bit. He's been unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Another one which we haven't touched on yet is obviously Caruso. And how did you feel as a Lakers fan that they didn't do more to keep him?
It was a business decision. So as a fan, I obviously wasn't happy about it. I kind of understand that the team wanted to get more offense in. I think that was also a priority the summer prior, bringing in Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, thinking that they could be a tandem that could support the offense if Davis was out or LeBron was out, and it just didn't pan out that way. But I think although Caruso is limited on ball, like he does so much defensively to spark your offense that it would have been worth keeping him around at the number that he ended up getting from the Bulls. And listening to the Old Man and the Three podcast he was a guest on this week.
That's right.
He did take the offer back to the Lakers and ask, even if they couldn't match it, if they could get close to it, and they just they just said no. And I think what ended up happening was they had a choice to make between Caruso and THT, Taylor Horton Tucker, who I'm sure most people out there will be like, wait, what? Who? But
yeah.
he's he's like 20 years old. This is his third season with the Lakers, super young, and maybe 21 years old. That math doesn't check out. And I think they have a bit more faith in what he can be offensively, combined with his long wingspan defensively. And they just made the choice of him as a young guard wing over Caruso, who's a bit older, is a little bit more limited on offense. But with the clip that Caruso's shooting from free, I know it's not on huge volume. The athleticism, the basketball intelligence, and the defense, like he's a really, really good player, and I'm glad. I'm almost glad that he's flourishing away from the Lakers. Same thing with Lonzo as well, because when the Lakers talk about him as being really good, then it's, oh, but you're a Lakers fan, you're biased, you're just talking up your players as you always do, right? And then they become overrated. Now that he's on the Bulls, there's less hate nationally and internationally. People can see him for the player that he is. So I'm glad he gets that opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. That makes it. I mean, I loved Caruso. The first time I really watched much of him was in the finals series with Miami last year. That wasn't it? Well, season before last.
Yeah.
You know,
but last year, yeah.
And I was blown away, but I loved him. Absolutely loved him. I loved everything about him. I love even like his look, and obviously, people doesn't look like a basketball player and stuff, but I was just obsessed with watching him. It was bizarre, and he wasn't even playing for my team. When we signed him, I was so happy we got him.
Yeah.
And he sure as hell hasn't disappointed. Absolutely not.
At all.
So,
leading the league in steals off the bench.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Legit shout for a 6-man if he carries on. But then, will he? Because that's more of an offensive.
It's a tough race this year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hot Sauce Jr. put Caruso's revenge game tonight.
We'll see. I'm scared. I'll be honest. I'm scared.
Are you really?
I don't actually get scared, but the Bulls, with the way that they can play on both ends, and the fact that you guys can really defend, I think that those are the tougher matchups for the Lakers. The one advantage that we do have, the ace in the hole, is obviously Anthony Davis playing against your depleted back line.
Yeah.
Depleted front line.
We're not got much height in the team at the moment.
Yeah, and he just feasted on the Spurs, who had the same issue. So hopefully he's still out for blood.
It'll be interesting if Caruso starts tonight, because he started last night, so they kind of played the 3-guard lineup, which was super small.
Yeah.
If we do that tonight, we could be in for a shock off the tip. Who knows? But it's so nice to hear other teams saying, "Oh, I'm worried about the Bulls."
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that since I've started following again in the last 6 years. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't tell you how buzzing I am. Like this morning, because I don't get to watch too many games live, unfortunately, because life and work just gets in the way.
Of course.
I try to do at least one a week, 2 if I can. But I try and do at least one a week, but I couldn't last week because work was just so busy. So I've just been getting up sort of an hour and a half earlier and watching it before I go off to work. And this morning when I watched the Clippers game, literally I just grinning from ear to ear. Just after, and every time I think about it at work, it's so sad, but I just get really excited. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. And as a Lakers fan, it's good to see other fans getting the chance to see their teams win and enjoy it. We get a lot of flack, I don't know if you've heard, we win a lot of championships and stuff. So it's good to spread the happiness around.
The last one doesn't count though, does it?
We're not doing that.
Oh dear. No, I'm only messing.
Yeah.
The one disappointing game last week was obviously the Warriors game. I don't think it was a shock to anybody that happened. The only surprise was we didn't play very well at all, to be truthful. That was the worst game we've played, probably, including preseason, I would say. But I'm glad in a way that we had that performance against the Warriors, who you kind of expect to lose to anyway, the way they're playing, other than against, the Knicks, dare I say it, or one of these other teams who we should be competing with.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. But yeah, what did you see much of that game or?
Yeah, I watched it, and I think what people still fail to see is that the Warriors are and have always been a defensive team. And everyone sees Steph and the threes and Clay and the threes, and all of the spotlight is put on that side of things. But under Mark Jackson, they were a great defensive team. Under Steve Kerr, they've always been a great defensive team. And last season, they were 5th in defense without much defensive talent. And then this year, I think they're top 2 in defense. And Draymond's making a real claim for Defensive Player of the Year already. And I think that's what happened to the Bulls. They just got stifled. Wiggins is out there as well with his length. Although Steph isn't the most physically gifted defender, he's intelligent. He knows how to play passing lanes, and he knows how to stay out of trouble as well. That's one thing that they do better than anyone. If you ever go and watch them in the playoffs or in the finals, especially back when they were getting to the finals every year, and the way that they move Steph around the away from the ball on the defensive end is like as beautiful as that Lonzo pass was to Levine for the 360. That's the defensive version of it, right? It's like defensive highlight after defensive highlight, just an absolute exhibition on how to communicate on defense.
100%, man. The only thing that I was happy with in that game was that Otto Porter Jr. didn't drop 15 threes. I think he went 1 for 4. 1 for 4, I think he went. Yeah, 1 for 4 from the 3, which was great because I think the game before he did go off. And he's been doing quite well for them in general, I think, this season. But I always said if Otto had stayed healthy, he probably could have done really well for us. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't go off. But yeah, I mean, Curry, man, you just can't help but admire the greatness, can you? You can't.
Unbelievable. He's already the front runner for MVP, isn't he?
I think he has. Yeah.
He's. I mean, what more can be said? He's just so exciting. There's nothing if he's on, it's over for you. There's nothing the defense can do.
You know when someone's great when you're watching your team take an absolute hammering, but you're still sat there with your mouth open, just admiring how good he is.
Yeah.
That shot, we've all seen the picture, I'm sure, with him. He threw it up, turned around to the crowd, pointed at the crowd, and the ball was still in the air.
Yeah.
And it's just, everyone was saying it could be one of, it's up there with the most iconic photos in NBA history. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Even though it was against my team, like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fair play.
And that's in the regular season, right? Like how many of those shots, like how many shots go up during the regular season, and just, don't come close to a moment like that.
Just to have the balls to do that is, I don't care how hot you are, to do that and be so confident. Because if that doesn't drop, you're a meme for life. Like, that's who's the guy?
Nick Young, Laker.
Nick Young, yes, it was Nick Young. That's right, yeah. And it's just, I mean, that will never go away. That meme. So it's just,
apparently, Steph did that in another game last week where he turned to the crowd and it missed. But no one
really?
Yeah, no one cared. It just got swept under the rug because of Steph.
I didn't see that.
You win some, you lose some. Yeah.
Oh, well, that goes to show then, obviously. Yeah, I didn't even see it. Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it does happen.
That's really surprising. But no, the man is absolutely great. And I've always, I'm one of these people that, some people really think I'm weird for it, but All-Star Weekend, I actually prefer the 3-point contest to the dunk contest.
That's not weird.
I just love watching shooters, man. I just always have. And Steph and to think that Clay's not even playing and they're doing this well is pretty scary. But I just love and again, I think now it's coming back to me. Didn't Clay, when he broke the 3-point record in the game, that was against
Hmm.
us as well? That was against the Bulls.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that one as well. And yet again, that was, I mean, we were in a much darker place then with
Yeah.
Jim. Let's get the boo button ready. Jim Boylan ready. Yeah, when Jim Boylan was in charge, we were in a real dark place. Some of the players we had, man. Oh gosh. So watching that was quite tough actually because you're depressed at how much we stink, but at the same time you're watching greatness with Clay, and Steph was even cheering him on the sidelines, and
Mm.
apparently Steve Kerr had no idea that it was to break the record, and when he dropped the one to break the record,
Mm.
everyone was going nuts, and Steve Kerr was like, "What's going on?" And then he was like, "Oh, has he just broken a record?" And Steph was
Yeah.
there cheering him on. I mean, it was Steph's record he broke, and Steph was still cheering him on. That's great. That's amazing support. That goes to show you the type of person that he must be as well.
Yeah. And it was like symbolic of their whole entire run, right? Because they always, when anyone is close to any kind of record or someone's close to getting 50, they just get them the ball over and over and over again. And it's funny that they don't, like the coaches don't discourage them, and they're not like, oh, let's just, play like it's still 0-0 on the scoreboard or anything like that. They always play into it, and it just helps them play with joy, right? Play with happiness, enjoy their basketball, and it just improves their relationships. And it's always electric, those games. I pretty much watch the Warriors in a similar way to the way I used to watch the Suns. Like there's just this excitement when they're on and doing what they can do. And I just like watching great basketball, and that's certainly what they have. Hopefully Clay comes back close to his best.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to be at his best, does he? Anywhere, as you say, anywhere close to it will be plenty good enough.
Yeah.
But it must be so good playing in that team. Like you say, when they're getting the support and the freedom like they have, it must just be so much fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I imagine the practices aren't that much fun. Could be wrong, but maybe they go harder in practice to make the games a lot easier. Who knows? Anyway, we did have a great bounce back win last night. Again, I say we like you're a Bulls fan. Bulls, of course, against the Clippers, which we just, I mean, we seem to be in. I don't know if you saw much of that one. It was obviously only last night, but we seem to be in control pretty much from the off, in my opinion. I know they got it close a few times, but I just never felt in danger of losing this one, as arrogant as that might sound.
Yeah, I just think they didn't have quite enough weapons, and that they've done well to have the record that they do, with Kawhi out, obviously. But it just felt like one of those ones where you guys were able to control it, just because anytime they did get close, I think they kept cutting it to 8. They cut it to 8 maybe 3 or 4 times in the first 3 quarters, and anytime that happened, either Levine would answer from the perimeter or DeRozan would answer from inside or the free throw line, and you were just able, like you said, to control the game and just keep them at bay. And that's obviously a lot easier to do when you're defending them well, and that's what I think you guys did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, DeRozan has just been phenomenal. He really has. I keep touching him. He might be our best player. He might be our best player. And I know that should be Zach, and everyone said it's Zach. And I want to be loyal to Zach because he's all we've had for these past few years. No offense, Larry Markkinen. You know I love you, bro. But DeRozan might be our best player. Zach might argue that he's playing with a thumb injury. That's why. But DeRozan, it just looks so good, man. He looks so good.
Yeah, he scores easily. I think that's the thing, and because of that, he can always be in control. He's not, although he can jump out of the gym, he's not reliant on his athleticism. His polished mid-range game, copied off of Kobe. He because he can get to that shot anytime. That keeps the defense honest. It allows him to go in there, pump fake, and then you're biting, and he can get to the line easily as well. He's not going to be affected by the change of the rules, like a lot of other perimeter players are. So yeah, he's so measured, and he's a professional scorer. He's a professional scorer.
It amazes me, you saying about his pump fake, how many times it gets people every time.
Every time. Yeah. Yeah. It's because it's so difficult to block his shot with his athleticism, the fade. Again, this is something that Kobe talked about. Like if you get the right balance on your fadeaway shot and release at a high point, the defender can't guard it. But once they know they can't guard it, they try and guard it even harder. So as soon as you are about to go up, they're ready to go up with you and try and get that block. And as long as you're going for that block, you're going to get pump faked every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I still question. I hate questioning Billy Donovan, but with the Knicks game, when they run the play for DeRozan to take that shot, in my opinion, the ball should have gone to Zach, and he should have run it Evan Fournier. I'll probably argue with that all season long, because he either dunks on him, easy layup, or he draws the foul. That's my opinion.
I absolutely agree. Even if the play was for DeRozan with Levine as a decoy, once they switched that matchup at the top, they should have let Levine go.
Yeah,
because he would have had a head of steam as well. And yeah, he would have had a head of steam. And at the very least, he would have got fouled for sure.
If it was down to a shot and we were against the time, and it was a mid-range shot, then of course. Yeah. You would pick DeRozan over anyone in that team, probably anyone in the league other than Kevin Durant, like I've said many times. But yeah, in my opinion, they had enough time to do that. But it's done now. We gave the Knicks their little bit of joy for the season.
Press the button.
Yeah, man. Where's that button? Thank you, David. I keep forgetting about that. Dick Luke put about last night's game. Caruso did a good job on George. Absolutely, yeah. He kept Paul George quiet. He done a great job on him. I say quiet. I mean, he still dropped 27, but
yeah,
you know,
he managed to get to the line a fair bit. But yeah, no, it was definitely a good job.
Yeah, man, for sure. That was the biggest worry. So yeah, we go on to tonight's game against you guys, against the LA Lakers. I'm buzzing for that. I'm going to get up for that one. It'll be my first live game for about 10 days, I think, something like that. So I'm buzzing, and it's a 3:30 tip, which some people go, oh my god, the West Coast tips are crazy. But everyone that knows, I've said this before, in a way I find them easier. If I can get to bed at a decent time, get to bed about 10, get up at 3:15, time the game finish 6 o'clock, get ready, go to work, start my day. And then get home from work and probably fall asleep on the sofa about 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. But I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing to watch the live games. I don't know if you do watch many live games or.
Well, the nature of my work is such that if it's right now, I can't at all. But sometimes work's a little bit calmer. There's less asked of me. So what I would normally do is when it comes to the finals, I'll stay up. But just in that period, I'll stay up. Otherwise, I'll normally just I've got Game Pass on my iPad, so I'll just either record the game if it was early enough, or try and watch it. I'll watch a quarter maybe at home before I leave, then watch another section during halftime, and if I get a bit of free time, I'll finish it off.
Right, there's nothing like watching the live games. Shout out to Matt Hearn. Sorry, Matt, the comments are about 30-second delayed, so I've only just seen your comment on the thing a minute ago. But Matt Hearn, who's joined us, has put Billy Donovan's best decision so far was starting Caruso to lock up Paul George. So yeah, man, I think that's a great shot. I was quite surprised to see him in there, I'll be honest with you, but it worked absolutely brilliantly. Hot Sauce Junior, do you guys use a league pass for games? Yes, I do. I think David does as well.
Yeah.
It's brilliant over here. I think you can get the full league pass for £180 for the year. You can watch any game live and on demand, or you can just get a team pass, which is £99 for the year. It's incredible value. It really is. It includes obviously all the playoff games as well. So yeah, brilliant value. I'm like I say, man, I'm buzzing for tonight because I get to see a live game, which I haven't seen for too long. It's been over a week. So, and with the Lakers, it's just a special game, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, do you know if LeBron's back tonight, or is it?
I don't expect him to be. I know he's been practicing. I think he was cleared for 5-on-5 a few days ago. I haven't heard anything through the wire yet that he's playing, but that could obviously change pretty late. We've still got a few hours to go before things are finalized.
I thought you guys were just resting him for 10 days before you played us.
Saving him for this one. It's funny, actually.
It would be difficult. Sorry.
It's funny. We were talking about Caruso, and Caruso actually said the game where he earned LeBron's trust was against the Bulls 2 seasons ago, when it was the season that ended with the bubble. It was around this time, actually. It was Lakers Bulls in Chicago, and somehow the Bulls absolutely trampled our starting lineup and were up like close to 20 points. And then Vogel basically gave up, took out all the starters, put the bench in. Caruso was part of a bench unit with like Troy Daniels and all of these other players who were on the periphery of the team, and they managed to bring the lead all the way back. And then he brought back in LeBron and AD to close it out with a couple of the bench players sprinkled in still. And I think Caruso stayed on the court, and that was the start of their. Yeah,
I'm
we
wondering
did.
if that was the game. I don't think it was. When Jim Boylan, our starters, or mostly our starters, were winning the game. Maybe it was then, and then he put in the bench towards the end of the game, and we ended up losing. I can't remember which game it was. I tried to forget all of Jim Boylan's games.
Probably a good idea.
And in the post-game interview, he said he was asked, "Why did you put your bench back in once your starters had got you back?" And he said, "These guys need to learn to win," but they lost. I mean,
God.
Crazy, absolutely craziness. But
God.
Part of me hopes LeBron does play in a way. 2 reasons. One, because I don't want people to say, "Oh, you only beat the Lakers because LeBron didn't play." But the main reason, I would love to see him go up against Caruso, because I know LeBron massively respects him.
He does.
And that would be awesome to see those 2 guys go up against each other. So, although it would be a much easier game without LeBron, make no mistake with that. Part of me would love to see him play. Just for that alone.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But right, David, we're gonna do. We touched on it. We've done it last week. I've picked out a couple of players and the teams they played for, and you've got to try and guess a player. Not gonna lie, guys, this was a complete rush job this week. I've been so busy today, and it's really easy, and I'm sure David's gonna smash through it. So I'm gonna give a bit less clues away with regards to the years and stuff, and I'm sure he's gonna get it anyway. So we do a player from the 90s, they played for the Ball in this era. So in the 90s, one from the 2000s, and one from 2010 onwards.
Yep.
So the first day, and by the way, tonight I've picked players that played for both the Bulls and for the Lakers, because David's joined us obviously from the Lakers. So the first player, he played for. In fact, I'm going to really throw this up, because if I put it in order, you're just going to get it, because you're a clever man. I know your knowledge on basketball, so I'm going to mix it up a bit. So he obviously played for the Bulls. He played for the Lakers. He played for the Magic. Played, I think, very briefly for Seattle.
Ooh.
And that is it.
And that's all. Horace Grant.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even if you just string it out a little bit longer, yeah?
Yeah, just want to be sure.
Horace Grant, man. Yeah, well done. Brilliant. I don't need to go on anymore. The next player, sorry, I've got this one on my phone. I told you it was all a bit rushed. So he played for Phoenix, one of your other teams that you used to like watching. The Knicks, the Mavericks. Obviously, the Bulls and the Lakers. The Rockets.
Journeyman.
And the Charlotte Bobcats.
Trevor Ariza?
No.
No, he's never been a Bull.
So he was drafted by the Bulls. He was a second overall pick.
Oh, that's completely thrown me off.
We've got him, guys. We've got him.
The Charlotte Bobcats. Oh, Adam Morrison.
No. Do
No. Damn.
you want me to throw some years at you?
Oh, he was drafted by the Bulls.
He was drafted by the Bulls in 2001.
Ah, Tyson Chandler.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I wasn't even thinking of him. Yeah. Yeah, played for the Suns. Yep. Works out. Mavs.
Well done. Fair play. And this one I think you're going to get really easily, but we'll go with it anyway. So he played for Mavs, Kings, obviously Bulls and Lakers, Hawks, and the Pelicans.
Mavs, Kings, Hawks, Pelicans, Lakers, Bulls.
Oh, and I'm missing out a big one he played for. But I'm not going to give you.
Okay. You're gonna give it hold it out for a
As soon as I
second.
mention that team, you're going to get it straight away.
Mavs, Kings, Bulls, Lakers.
Clippers.
And you said the Hawks.
Clippers and Hawks. The team I've left out were the team that drafted him.
It's the Celtics.
Yes, sir.
It's Rajon Rondo.
Is indeed. Well done.
Yeah.
I knew it would be easy for you, but
Yeah.
I had to throw that one together last minute, so we nearly got him on the second one, guys.
It's good fun, man. It's good fun.
Well done,
I wanted
mate.
to do Bulls players. I enjoyed last week's.
Oh, I thought I'd mix it up a bit and pick
That's
guys
fair.
on both. So
Yeah.
we'll have to get you back on later in the season, and we'll just concentrate
Sure.
on the Bulls players and try and throw a bit of a trickier one at you. So David, obviously, like I said, Liam last week got right 3-1. You got the teams
Yep.
right as well. So this week we've got obviously Lakers tonight. We've got
Yep.
Portland on Thursday, and we've got
Mhm.
Denver on Saturday, and they're all road games.
Ooh, West Coast trip.
Yeah, wow, we've been on it since the Warriors last week. So we've had obviously Warriors,
Yeah.
Clippers, Lakers, Portland, Denver. So Lakers, Portland, Denver. What record do you think we're going to get from there?
I'm gonna predict. So what's that? Lakers,
Ah,
Portland, Denver. And then you got the big one next week.
Yeah, who's that against next week?
Knicks next Monday. Love it. I have to predict a loss to the Lakers.
Of course.
Although you could definitely win that game. It's just going to be a matter of whether we're very turnover prone, and Caruso and those guys force a lot of turnovers. So I could see that being a recipe for disaster. But then, as I said earlier, the AD thing with him being inside could be your comeuppance. But I'm gonna take the homer pick there. I think you'll beat the Blazers, especially with your perimeter defense against their perimeter offense. I think you can contain them, and they don't have an inside threat to take advantage. And then Denver's a tough one. They've had some interesting results lately. They absolutely destroyed the Blazers, comfortably beat the Hawks, beat the Heat in that controversial game. And then again, with no Vucevic and Jokic being an inside presence there, and being at the end of a West Coast road trip, those are like almost schedule losses. I don't want to come on here and say that it's going to be
You got to do it, man. You
1
got
and
to
2.
be honest to yourself.
But I'm going to go 1 and 2, and I hope the Bulls fans know that I say that respectfully.
After the man who said we wouldn't play a lick of defense. If you believe that, guys, you will believe anything. Okay, well, that's made my job easier because I've gone 2-1.
Yeah.
I've gone 2-1. I think, personally, I think we'll win tonight. I think we will beat Portland Thursday, but I don't think we will beat Denver. I think Denver are going to be too big and too strong, in my opinion. So yeah, I'll go 2-1. You've gone 1 and 2. The guests are 1 up on me at the moment because I didn't do it with Dean first time round because I only thought of it the second time. Neither me nor Sam predicted right the first time, and like I said, Liam got it right last week. So 1-0 to the guests. So hopefully I can claw one back. If I'm going to be wrong, then I want to go 3-0.
Well, either way, I don't get to say it next week or predict, but I hope you guys smash the Knicks.
Yes, you and me both. That deserves a cheer somehow. Let's cheer that one. Beat the Knicks. We owe them one. And it's back in Chicago as well. So, although it was in Chicago the first game, it didn't do us any good. Anyway, David, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate your time. It's been really good fun. Really good fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, it is really good. And all the best with this stuff, man.
Podcast as well, actually, before you go, man. And
yeah, so we are
stuff.
Yeah, we are the Grit and Grime podcast. It's at Grit and Grime Pod across all socials, pretty much Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And then Grit and Grime podcast on any podcast platform. Just tune in.
Yeah.
We
go and talk, guys. It's a good listen. It really is. The guys know their stuff. Apart from when talking about the balls, of course, on the previews, but that's another story. No, they do. It's a good listen. It's a great listen.
I came here to get educated, man.
You've come to the wrong place, man. I say it every week, but I'm nothing more than a fan. I've not got a basketball mind or anything like that. I'm just purely a fan. So, I talk from the heart. That's about it. But, thanks again, David. Really appreciate it, man. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you've joined us tonight or listening back, really appreciate it. So, thanks. Enjoy the games, guys. Hopefully we kick off with a win against the Lakers tonight. And, we'll go from there. But thanks a lot, David. I will speak to you shortly.
Take it easy.
Cheers, man. Thanks, guys. Take care.